Good evening. Can I call the dignitaries on the stage? Srimati Harsimrat Kaur Badal, Shri Badubhai Bokaria, Shri Jasafai Barat, Shri Mohanbhai Kunderia, Shri Manubhai Patel, Shri Kantibhai Gamit, His Excellency Piotrowski, Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, Shri Siraj Hossain, His Excellency Yair Shamir, Shri Raj Kumar. Can we have all of these dignitaries on the dais, please? Shri Jasabhai Barat, Shri Mohanbhai Kunderia, Shri Manubhai Patel, Shri Kantibhai Gamit. Poland is not coming, I think. Shri Rajkumar has come on. We'll start with the floral bouquet. I will now request. Good evening again. I have the honor of starting this program, and a lot of you will think what I'm doing, being an industrialist of this state. But I'll tell you the model. And this model started in 2003. And this model has been started by Honorable Prime Minister, who was the Chief Minister then, when he told us that we should go and promote Gujarat abroad. And he made us the leader of the delegations. And I thought, what we are doing as leader of the delegations? And from then till today, we have been doing Vibrant Gujarat in active partnership with the government, and all the Vibrant Gujarats I have partnered. So I have the honor today of not speaking here, but hosting this program as a partner of Government of Gujarat. Because if you ask me, out of all the USPs Gujarat has, we hear a lot of USPs, and our Prime Minister has just given a very, very inspiring speech. But Gujarat has one USP which he has not touched upon, and that is this unique partnership between the state, the industry, the public. And we all want to go for development, because only development can give the nation inclusive growth. And we talk of development, what better development can be there in food processing? I tell a lot of people that if you are in food processing, you are already doing a CSR activity also. Maybe in the next door also they are doing a CSR session, we are also in a parallel CSR session. But I won't like to take more time now. I will like to invite for the welcome address, Shri Babubhai Bokaria. Mr. Babubhai Bokaria is a very popular public leader, involved in public life since decade.
Dr. Ajit Kumar, VC, NIFM TM, and Mr. Philip Chamberlain, Director, Subtropical Dairy Program Limited, Dairy Australia. The distinction personality from their respective fields. As speaker in the seminar, and I also welcome to all media friends. As you all may be aware that Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit was vision of the then Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Narendra Bhai Modi, to provide a common platform for the interaction with investors, policymakers, academia, scientists, technologists, with the objective to the explore business opportunity with global leaders to strengthen the economy of the Gujarat state, which was to become engine of the growth for the rest of country in time to come. It started with modest beginning in 2030, when only 3 MOUs were signed in the agro and food processing sector. Over a period of the time, the enthusiasm among entrepreneurs have increased, and with the passage of each Vibrant Summit, the number of MOUs signed in the agro and food processing sector have increased so much that number of MOUs signed during 2030s were 1,132. The role of agro and fruit processing has always been recognized. Our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Bhai Modi recognized the need to identify agriculture as one of the thrust area for attaining sustainable economic development of India. Overwhelmed with the success of Vibrant Gujarat Global Investment Summit, it was decided to organize first ever Global Agri Summit in September 2013 as a Vibrant Gujarat Global Agriculture Summit 2030. The summit attracted huge interest from public, farmers, industrialists, and academia. Gujarat is endowed with the absent natural resources in terms of fertile land, virile soil, 7 agro-climate zone, and total coastline of 1,060 kilometers. The state has also built excellent infrastructure as compared to other states. There are total 42 major and minor ports, 13 domestic airports, and 1 international airport. Even the hinterlands of the state are well connected with the well-developed roads and rail network. The state has supply power. The state is well developing agriculture and horticulture crop procurement system in the form of 207 APMC and 206 subyard. The state has trade-friendly government machinery and above all enterprising people, the most important resource. Gujarat government, other such initiative are soil health cards, iKisan portal, mobile apps, services for the farmers to result into the large-scale agriculture produce, leading to agri-revolution in Gujarat. Gujarat state is the leading producer of the high-value cash crops such as cotton, groundnut, sesame, castor, and cumin, etc. More than 10 million cotton bales were produced during 2030. The production of the total fruit grains during fruit processing during 2010-11 was a 10.11 million tons. The major vegetable grown in the rest include onion, brinjal, potato, tomato, okara, etc., which provides ample processing opportunity. The total production of the fruits and vegetable was 8.41 million metric ton and 10.52 million ton during the 2012. 2010 respectively, the state ranked third and sixth in the production of the fruit and vegetable at the national level. The state accounts for the nearly 80% of the onion realization, 4% of the total units in the country. It is estimated that about 90% of the total isabgul processing of India take place in the Gujarat. The state is also largest producer of the milk and milk products in the country, and approximately 40% milk produce in the state is processed, which is equal to 80% of the country total milk processed. The state also ranks first in the marine products and contributes 28% in the national export of the marine products in the quantity and 15% in the term of value. The faster than the national average growth rate in the agriculture created the need for the development of the food processing sector to reduce wastage and value addition in farm produce and to enhance the income level of the farmers of Gujarat. The Gujarat had approximately 30,000 food processing units and providing employment 1 million people. However, there is a still vast scope to enhance the processing level, value addition, and reduction of the agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry, marine products, etc. in Gujarat. I request the expert to deliberate on innovation and technological advancement in the food processing sector to improve value addition, processing of the agro products, farmers' income, and reduce wastage to ensure food security for all strata of the society. As our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Bhai Modi, has included the idea of the Make in India and Make Brand India, zero defect, Manufacturing, I invite delegates from participating countries' global leaders, businessmen, experts, and entrepreneurs to invest in the agro and food processing sector in Gujarat. I once again welcome to all the summit and seminar on innovation and technology in food processing for sustaining food security. Jai Jai Gujarat, Jai Hind, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Recently, we had got McKinsey to do a report, what is called FIDA 3. And they studied various states, and they came to Gujarat. And then they wrote a chapter in this report called the Gujarat Case Study of Agriculture Growth. And what they said is that if Gujarat can grow double than the agriculture growth of the country, why do you want to go look at west and east to find out what to do? Let us do what Gujarat has said to do. And the presentation which we did, actually, and the presentations we did are all on the Gujarat model. So now the good news is that the Gujarat agri model is going to be adapted at all India level. And I definitely believe that in India, Modi ji's whole idea of urbanization, which has worked. If you see, consumer products today sell more in rural area than urban India at par. And that is because agri-economy has come up. If agri-economy comes up, it is the real model of this whole thing and how inclusive growth can take place. Now, I won't take further time because we have an inaugural address by Shrimati Harsimrat Kaur Badal, Honorable Union Minister of Food Processing Industries, Government of India. We are very fortunate that you are with us today. She is a determined politician. She is presently the Ministry of Food Processing in Narendra Modi's government. Apart from being a political leader, she is involved in social work and is a businesswoman. She is a graduate in textile designing. She was elected as Member of Parliament in 2009 to the 15th Lok Sabha from the Bathinda constituency and the 16th Lok Sabha also from Bathinda constituency. In August 2009, she was made a member of the Committee of Social Justice and Empowerment and also a member of Committee on Estimates. In May 2010, she was made member of Standing Committee of Food and Public Distribution and also a member of Committee on Estimates. She has also started a project called Nanni Jahan, means Innocent Lives, which is a movement to save girl child trees. She is very much concerned about the welfare of these, and I'm very, very happy to welcome her here. Last few months, we have interacted with her as industry, and because of her efforts, she has got what we were asking from many, many times. She has got from us NABARD to give special loans at special prices. Not only that, her being a full-fledged minister in the food processing ministry, I'm absolutely sure that the vision of making food processing actually make India the food factory of the world will come true. Now I'll invite Ms. Badal to give her inaugural address.
Honorable Babubhai Bukharia ji, Minister of Agriculture, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start by congratulating the people of Gujarat, the government of Gujarat, Honorable Mantri ji, for the amazing, vibrant Gujarat summit, which I have seen myself, but before this, I believe back to back before this was the Pravasi Bharati Summit also, which my father-in-law attended, and I was only hearing from him how well it was all organized, and today I come and see the amazing setup and the amazing way that the whole thing has been coordinated and conducted today, and I must congratulate the government and the people of Gujarat. In fact, while, yes, I think we all should be clapping. In fact, over lunch, I was sitting with a minister and I was telling them, I don't know how your people are so disciplined, because even to enter the lunch venue, if it was my state, Punjab, people would have pushed and shoved and fought and been inside, and all the VIPs would have been outside. So the minister very kindly told me that, nahi, Modi ji ne sikhaya hai ki पीछे काम करो, किचन में करो, सेवा करो, कुर्सी में बैठने का नहीं. ऐसे पर हमको तो यही सीख देखने को मिलता है कि कुर्सी पे मैं बैठूं, आप पीछे रहो. So I must say the people are very disciplined, and I think that's what goes to your credit, that Gujarat has reached the level that it has in every sphere. You've been very lucky to have a leader like Narendra Bhai Modi ji, who I'm so glad is now heading our country, and I should thank you all for sending him to Delhi, because people like me are getting an occasion to learn so much from him. I thought Star Prakash Singh Badal, my father-in-law, was an institution to learn from, and 5 years I learned under him. But I can tell you that learning under a modern generation prime minister is a different ballgame altogether. It's like you're suddenly entering the 23rd century, not only the 21st, but you're way ahead of your times. And that, I think, is what makes Modi ji so different from other leaders. And that is why the entire world is looking towards India. And I would also say that the kind of pride that he has brought in Indians, not just overseas, but even in India, that the whole world is looking at us and respecting our country once again, which at not just a few months ago had been just written off कि अब भारत का कुछ नहीं हो सकता. तो आई थिंक ये जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हमारे देश को देन दी है कि एक बार फिर वो जो आत्मविश्वास भारतीयों में आया है और दुनिया में हिंदुस्तान पे आया है, ये उनकी एक बहुत बड़ी योगदान है. I also must mention over here that we've all gathered over here to talk about food processing. And I can definitely say that this little sector, which before this was combined with the Agricultural Ministry, but the fact that the Honorable Prime Minister separated it from agriculture and gave it its own focus. And I can safely say that after listening to all the speakers, I think we would welcome the Honorable Minister from Israel, who has just joined us as well. Very warm welcome to him. After hearing all the speakers, I would say that you also must have heard that how a lot of them, starting from the chairman of the World Bank, who laid a lot of emphasis on removing poverty by 2030, right up to the minister from Canada, who laid a lot of emphasis on food processing, agro-based technology. It seems to me that the future of the growth of the nation lies in food processing. The growth story cannot be complete unless due focus is given to food processing, and I will tell you why. A small sector which, in spite of its size, contributes almost $180 billion, runs an $180 billion industry, which is growing at the rate of 9% when compared to 3.3 of agriculture and 6.6 of manufacturing, which employs over 60% of our rural population in direct or indirect ways. And even though it contributes a very minuscule 1.5% to the GDP, I feel the potential of this industry, of this sector is such that it can address a host of issues which plague our nation as of today. While I take pride in the fact, and actually not I shouldn't be the one taking pride, we should all be congratulating our farmers about the fact that in spite of all the challenges placed, our country is the #1 producer of milk. We've got Mr. Sodhi here. I had the pleasure of visiting Amul in Anand a few months ago, and that, I would say once again, another reason to congratulate Gujarat, the way you've turned the milk industry around and changed the lives of so many farmers and so many women, I would say, because that's something, milk is one thing which a lot of women, in uplifting women, it has played a very important role. So in spite of being the largest producer of milk in the world, India happens to also be the second largest producer of cereals and fruits and vegetables, credit again to the farmers. We are the third largest producers of marine in the world and having almost the largest population of livestock. That's the kind of base of the base that our country holds. But the sad part is that in spite of all these things, if we look at the processing done in these segments, we barely process 10% of our food. And smaller countries like maybe Malaysia or Philippines, they've already reached 80%. And they're processing 80% of their produce. So this goes to show the tremendous potential which is there for this food processing sector to evolve and to grow. And I would really say that this sector needs to grow and the due focus needs to be given for a couple of reasons. Most important, according to me, you all know that we're a growing nation. We already are the second largest population in the world. And our population increases by 1.5% every year. Can you imagine what a challenge it is to feed this growing population where the land holdings are shrinking? Because as people increase, obviously the cultivable land is decreasing. I see it in my own state. I come from the state of Punjab, which contributes almost 40% of the food that feeds our people, of wheat and rice. And I can tell you that after every month when I go back to my constituency, where there was a huge green field, there are 2 houses which are being built over there, a road which is being built over there, and that much land has reduced. So I often think to myself that if in 5 years I have seen this land shrink, What is it going to be in the next 30 years? And that's something we all need to seriously think about. That if this population is growing at 1.5%, our natural resources, our depleting natural resources are a challenge that we have to look towards. But at the same time, we also have to look at the shrinking land holdings. So one of the biggest challenges that we have is to grow more from less to feed more, is the way I put it, that you have to grow more, get higher yield from lesser amount of land to ensure that in the future we can feed more people. And that, I think, the only way that is possible if we adopt a policy of zero wastage of food. Why do I say zero wastage? As Indians, I think we all also realize, we read in the papers and practically as well, we also know, we keep hearing and reading about how much of food is getting wasted. I can say कि फल और सब्जी तो waste होता है, but लेकिन coming from a state like Punjab, I can say rotting grains is one of our biggest concerns. If I talk about a study done by my department on post-harvest engineering and technology, they give us figures like where in perishables, if you look at just fruits and vegetables, the wastage is almost 18%. And the processing is only 2%. So if we are the second largest producers of fruits and vegetables, we process only 20%. And one study shows that 18% gets wastage. And I think in reality, you probably know better that 18% to we say, and this is also only at the harvest and the transportation level. The reality must be, and I'm sure we all realize, is probably worse than that. So you can imagine the kind of wastage that is happening. And we first and most critical priority, I would say, is to ensure that this wastage, there has to be zero tolerance. We have to reduce it under all circumstances. Otherwise, we are looking, like I said, at even bigger challenges where natural resources, I come from the state of Punjab, like I said, our water tables are going down every year. Whether it's our soil contamination, whether it's our water contamination, whether it's our yield per acre, our farmers are facing challenges every day. And if a state that feeds 40% of the food to this nation, if they are facing challenges, what is the future of the next generation? So I would say that to ensure that there is zero wastage, minimum amount of wastage, food processing is the answer. So when I say that this sector is important for a couple of reasons, not just critical in ensuring food security, by way of ensuring enough food, affordable food, nutritious food. You all must be well aware that 70% of our adolescent girls are malnourished. 50%, almost 50% of our population is malnourished. And if a malnourished girl becomes a malnourished mother, she's obviously producing malnourished children. This is again a huge challenge that we have to look at. And this is where food processing can fortify food to address the nutritional needs of our nation. So not only providing nutritious food, but providing affordable and good food to ensure food security of our nation. That's where food processing plays a very important role. I would also say, when I say that it can play a critical role, that when we talk about food inflation, one side we have high wastages, the other side we have high inflation. And I think they are directly related. Because if you bring down the wastage, you will increase the availability. When there is more availability, there will be cheaper prices. So to control inflation also, food processing plays a very important role, because in those few months where there's a glut of the crop, the farmer doesn't get his due, and a lot of it rots and wastes. So I would say the most important thing that food processing will do is, as at the speed that food processing progresses, जितना फूड प्रोसेसिंग प्रगति करेगा या आगे बढ़ेगा, उतने ही तेज़ी से हमारा फार्मर्स भी अपलिफ्ट होंगे, क्योंकि फूड प्रोसेसिंग फार्मर के फूड के बिना आगे बढ़ नहीं सकता, और फार्मर को एक एश्योर्ड लिफ्टिंग मिलेगा. एंड इफ इंडस्ट्री एंड फार्मर्स डिसाइड टू गेट टुगेदर एंड हेल्प ईच अदर आउट, where food processing can progress because he can get assured food from the farmer. And in the same way, the industry can help the farmer by investing in, say, seeds and technology and better way of harvesting and better ways of growing things in the field. This will not only help the farmer, but give him a better income and ensure that the industry and the farmer work together for the progress of the state and for the nation. So while I say that be it inflation, be it wastage, be it food security. Last and not the least, I would definitely like to say that another very critical sector where food processing plays a very important role is also generating employment. As I said before, that almost 60% of the population in the rural area is directly or indirectly connected with our industry, with the food industry. And I would also say that if this 10% of processing was just to increase by 1%, it would straight away provide employment to almost 5 lakh people directly and almost 15 lakh indirectly. So for every 1%, if we are generating 15 lakh more jobs, I think that's the thrust, that area that we need to give, so that this huge generation of under 35 year or 65% of our population, which is under the age of 35, they may be able to find secure and safe jobs and turn into entrepreneurs. And like I say, that in farming today, no farmer's son or daughter or child wants to get into farming. I come from a farming state, and all the children want to look towards going towards getting a job, a government job, or looking at some other side. Today we need to make not just farming viable, but to ensure that farming can be a kind of an entrepreneurship where you can value add to the farmer's crop, where it works like a self-help group, where the farmer grows, the wife can process it, and the children go and market it. If we look towards farming taking on these lines, I think it will not only turn around the agriculture industry, it will not only turn around the industry and the agriculture and the farmer and the youth of our country, but will also bring a huge input towards the progress. So, while I thank the Prime Minister for his visionary actions that he has taken in the last few months, which started with the budget, the first thing that was done in the first budget that he presented was was mentioned before me. He created 2,000 crores in NABARD, especially for the food processing sector, to give at a cheaper rate of credit for people to invest in designated food parks. I think that would be a big boost in the coming times to ensure that you will be able to pick up credit. Along with the subsidies given with our ministry, I think it will be a great boost in the right direction. The prices of the central excise duty of machinery, of packaging in food processing as well as food processing machinery has been brought down from 10 to 6%. These are the few things which came out, which was done during the budget. But as far as my ministry is concerned, we are doing whatever we can to help the industry to ensure that enabling environment is created for this industry to flourish, starting off with simple things like creating a food map so that anybody in India or abroad wanting to invest in this industry should know what is grown in which part of our country and in which season, where to put up an industry and what are the things that they can tap over there. This has been uploaded on our portal. We have also got an investors portal where queries can be sent and people can ask, and we will help them out with whatever queries they may have. We've also simplified the procedures of applications as well as supporting documents and things like that. They've all been reduced, the number of documents that you have to give, the way that you have to, the number of pages for applications. We try to simplify it in every way that we can to create an atmosphere where it's simpler to make use of all the schemes under my ministry. We've also tried to decentralize it by giving more powers to the state. As you know, a few years ago, a national mission of food processing was launched, where the states have the power to decide that their allocations, where would they like to, how would they like to focus on which sector. So with this decentralization, the states are doing a much better job. Our mega food park scheme, our cold chain scheme, we're trying to simplify the roadblocks that experience has shown due to which these have not taken off, the mega food parks, especially the way that we wanted. So we're trying to simplify those things. And I would welcome any kind of suggestions from you. The cold chain is something that the government is focusing on a big way, because we need to create that along with the seamless GST. Most important is going to be from the farm to the fork as well, with the supply chain gaps being removed and a good cold chain seamless movement. As long as that's not put into place, I know there are many challenges, but like I said, we are committed to try and overcome these challenges and to help the industry flourish in them. The industry, I have been meeting with them regularly. Many issues have been raised, whether it's regarding FSSAI, whether it's regarding GST. I'm working closely with the various other departments to ensure whatever help can be given so that I can make it more enabling for this industry and for the people who have approached me with their various problems to contribute to helping them out in whichever way I can. So I thank you all for having me here, and I look forward to a very constructive session. I look forward to learning from the people of Gujarat. I think Mantriji would be able to guide us. The little bit that I have learned, that Gujarat has taken huge steps. I know there is a Krishi Mahotsav Aapka hota hai, where all the officers have to go to the villages, and I think that's one full month. That's a very amazing concept, which I think the more other states adopt, the better it would be. I know you've got something like a soil health card also, and lab to koi laboratories testing kaski. E-Kisan portal, and also there are lots of good things which an agricultural state like mine can learn from you. And of course, we have got the Honorable Minister from Israel over here, where I would say is modern technology and lots of things to learn from him. So I look forward to all the suggestions that come up in the course of this interaction. And I can assure you that Honorable Prime Minister, this ministry of ours, we will try and create such an enabling environment so that today when we stand and say that only 10% processing is taking place, I hope 5 years down, this figure is at least increased by 3 times, so that when we meet for the next Vibrant Gujarat, or maybe 2 Vibrant Gujarats, we hold this session again, and we can see the progress from today till the next one, and say that we all work together, because like Pradhan Mantri ji says, sabka saath, sabka vikas. It can't be the government doing its job or the people trying on their own. It has to be a collective effort. We have to work together. The government is here to support you, to create an environment, and I can assure you that we are all here to work and to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of industry, I'd like to give you an assurance that we will always walk the talk. And I know this ministry, our Honorable Prime Minister said that we walk 1 step, government will walk 2. I'm sure this ministry is ready to walk 3 under your leadership. And that is what is worrying me, because that in industry also will have to walk that much more. But yes, but we will be with you in your efforts. And I really agree with you that this is one industry which can touch the actual rural life and the poor. And we are very honored today, actually. We are very honored because when I was young, one of the first countries I visited was Israel. And the Honorable Minister just talked about that in less, how do we grow more? And she said that is what we need to do in India. And we are very lucky that the next presentation is going from a country which actually did that. And it is amazing to see a country, it is a desert, but which can grow and export. Like, for example, we are into juices, and we think oranges are still imported from there, orange oil comes from there, juice comes from there. How do you do it, sir? And I was going through all the biodatas, and we are really lucky that we have His Excellency Mr. Yair Shamir with us. You have got a biodata which is like a book. What I really like this, it's a case study for young people to follow. And the fact that you have come in public life from the defense services. It is great, and I would like to read the whole biodata because I really liked it. Elected to the Knesset on January 2013, since March 2013, serving as the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Yashir Shamir served in the IDF's Air Force as a pilot, engineer, and commander between 1963 and 1988. He graduated from Technion in 1974 with a degree in electrical engineering. Shamir has managed and headed dozens of high-tech companies, venture capital funds. He served as CEO and Vice President of Skytex Israel, CEO of Elite, President and CEO of Vicon Telecommunication, Chairman and Partner in Catalyst, Chairman of Shamir Optimics Industries, and was on the board of several high-tech firms such as Mercury, Orchid, DSP Group, Hapolim Venture Capital. In addition, Samir served in various managerial positions in the public sector before being elected to the parliament. This includes the chairman of the board of LMN, chairman of Israel Aircraft Industries, chairman of Israel National Roads Corporation. Before being elected, he was also active in various public bodies, such as universities like Technion, Ben Gurion, and headed and board of trustees of Shalim Center, an organization which aids in the adoption of university-educated newcomers into the social and business life of the community. Sir, we are honored to have you here, and we are all waiting for your keynote address.
Thank you very much. But you know, behind any successful man, there is a woman. Where is my woman? Raise your hand. Where are you? Okay. Have you seen her? She is responsible for that. I'm just doing the job, you know. As a matter of fact, I'm in agriculture only, as it was said, 20 months. But it took me a shorter time to identify that agriculture is the basic platform for cooperation between people, between neighbors, cities, and countries and nations. And I'm coming from a ceremony with our friend, and we signed a third portion of a very successful cooperation between India and Israel. We established together 28 centers of excellence in which farmers are coming, putting their demands, needs, questions, concern, and the center is to submit to them solutions. And we are doing it successfully. That's why we are now going to a third step for that, to additional state and so on. And talking between us and India, it's so easy. The same body language, and we have basically the same problem. I heard you're talking about the next generation who doesn't want to be in agriculture. Well, if you have been a week ago in Israel, you can hear me talking about that. That's a huge problem. Because our kids in many countries, some of them in the big cities, think that tomatoes are growing up in the supermarket. What can I do? Even my kids, by the way. My grandkids already, sorry. So something has to be done. We have to change the priorities of governments. We have to understand it. And I think that I will share with you some of my ideas, but let me talk a little bit about the question that the moderator have asked me. How you have done it? So I'll tell you in a quick, short session the history of the Jewish people. The Jewish people started, it is an ancient people like India, I think almost the same period of time, thousands of years. And we have been agriculture, we have been farmers. All our religious, all our customs, tradition is related to agriculture events. When the rains go down, when you have to put the seed and so on. Unfortunately, Israel is a desired piece of land, even today, and empires swept this area, going from Asia to Europe, and the Jewish people was taken away from its homeland. After a couple of years, we came back. Then we thought again. And the second time, it took us 2,000 years to come back to our homeland, and we came only about 100 years ago. We came from Europe, we came from other countries where we've not been allowed as a Jewish people to acquire a piece of land, and we didn't deal with any farming activities. But all our ancient, traditional, and religious books were related to the problem of our ancestors from agriculture. We learned it for generation on generation. We didn't understand what we are talking about, but we learned it again and again, again and again. And then we came to the promised land. It's a promised land, but we found it desert. We found swamps. We found no water, nothing. But we didn't have any other choice. This is our homeland. This is what we pray every day. Every Jew around the globe, every day is praying to be in Jerusalem next year. So we came in, and you know, necessity is the source of all invention. When you pushed to the wall, what do you have to do? To find solution. That's what we have done. We took the old books, the new books, the other books, and we invented and we motivated I activate the brain that we have here, And as a result of that, if you go today to Israel, to the desert, you see green desert. If you go to the north, you'll see a flourish north, and so on. But we have the same phenomena that everyone else said. How to do more from less. That's meaning what? Today, if let's say 30 years ago, if you have a piece of land of 2 acres or 3 acres, I don't know exactly how it was in India, but you can make a life. You can survive, you can support maybe 1 or 2 families. Today it's not the case. You need much larger than that. And also very difficult to compete and to take it to the other side. There are standards, there are many other issues. Also urbanization taking, as it was said, also in Israel, the same stuff. When we started this, let's say when the state of Israel was founded at 48, we have been 600,000 people. That's it. Of course, we won the war against 7 Arab countries because of our belief and capabilities. And then immigrants from Jews who came all over the globe, and today we are 8 million in Israel. I know it's not a big number for India, but for us, it's a miracle. And we have to supply jobs, we have to supply reasonable jobs. And agriculture more and more become less attractive to young people. It's hard work. Every other day you are based on the mercy of if the rain will come, if the sun will, if there will be no this and no that. So we take one problem at another. No water? Today we have enough water. We desalinate it. I can put you water, whatever you like. The problem is price. In order to compete with high price, you have to deal with a better product, or from the same piece of land, do 10 times more crop yield. And that's what we are doing. But in our belief is that we have to share. And I give you an example. In Israel, there is the Sea of Galilee in the north of Israel, is the sweetest water that you can find in the area. It's the Jordan River. Get into it. And then at the south part of this sea, it's a lake. The same Jordan River go down, and the end of his journey of the river is the Dead Sea. The same pure water. We are feeding the Sea of Galilee with the best water that we have. The same water, when it's getting to the Dead Sea, as its name. Not a fish, nothing. It's a Dead Sea. How comes that the same fresh water, on one end it is the sweetest and the best one, and the other one is dead? And the answer of our ancestor is, the Sea of Galilee is getting fresh water and giving fresh water. The Dead Sea is only absorbing, doesn't share. So if we really want to remain fresh, young, innovative country, we have to share. And that's what we are doing. And that's what we are doing in India, that's what we are doing elsewhere. But in India, we have a much more closer, relationship. I don't know how to explain it, but this is a fact. The other point I want to mention is that in my experience, I had great 6 years that I worked very closely with India. But it was on the defense area. I was the head, as it was mentioned, I was the chairman of the Israeli aerospace industry, and I worked very closely with the space agencies here and development, DRO, and many other things. Now I'm on the other side of the same defense, of the same security of food. How you feed billions of people, or 130 core, right? I've done it right. 130 core of people from the same piece of land. And in coming years, it will be more and less arable land. How you do that? We have methods to do that. We make the thing more immune, And I give some examples from technology, the micro deep irrigation stuff. We have here in the audience, I forgot, I apologize for an Israeli delegation of businessmen and people who came from the agriculture industry, some of them dealing directly with post-processing. Raise your hand. Hey, lady, here as well. And we have here people who are coming from the deep irrigation. Where are you? Here we are. There's another one. Where's Amnon? Oh, doing business somewhere, I believe. And so on. So we are here to do whatever we can do in order to share. Of course, it should be on the basis of the two private sectors will do business together, and we, the government, this is our role, this is our job, to pave the way for this private sector to make business. We have to eliminate all the bureaucratic barriers. I hate it, but I have to suffer it. But in Israel, I'm trying to fight the bureaucrats. It's difficult, but it's going. I hope that you here, you will succeed. When I see your vibrant prime minister, I'm sure you will do something. We can do it. And we, the government, we should enable the private sector to do the thing. We, as a government, we have our, I think, one of the best technology and scientific and research institutes dealing with all aspects of agriculture, including post-processing, including enlarging the shelf life of the products. Again, talking about a longer shelf life. In Israel, we are surrounded with not, I would say, collaborative and nice neighbors. And we don't have too much exchange of trade or so on. So all our markets are, you have to take it by ship or by air, meaning we are selling oranges to Chile, which takes about something like 4 weeks to get from the field to Chile, and then you need at least 2-3 weeks in the supermarkets. So how to do that vegetables and fruits will be in good shape after 6 weeks or 7 weeks. This is the necessity. We solve it, and we can share it with you. It's go product by product, case by case. It's not, and that's why we have here, for instance, the excellence centers, where you, because the environment in Israel is different than here, but the methods, the way you develop it, the way you test it, the way to do that, it's the same. So that's why the people who are working in those excellence are Indians, with our support, but then they go by themselves. They have a problem that they didn't face before, and Israeli jump in, see what can do. What we have done, we're sharing with them, and it's go. That's the way to go. I'm telling you the truth. There are many problems. We don't know the solution, but maybe we can find them together. Anyhow, I really encourage you to talk to the Israeli delegations who are here, and I will be happy to answer questions. Thank you very much.
Technical session. Thank you, sir. And I can only think of one slogan which was given by our late Prime Minister, Lal Bahadur Shastri. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Hail the soldier, hail the farmer. And you are both now. And thank you for your very inspiring keynote address. And though we have to sign some MOUs, we'll be waiting for the Honorable Chief Minister for her presence. Then we will do that. So we'll go on with the first technical session. And today in food processing, there cannot be a technical session without food parks. And that is the first thing. Because one thing which we lack in the sector is infrastructure. And luckily, the Ministry of Food Processing has the scheme of mega food parks and food parks, which is actually make this need is actually fulfilled by these parks. And today we have a very interesting gentleman, Mr. Errol Grunewood. He is the president of Netherlands Agro Food and Technology Center, NEFTAC. It strives to bridge the technical knowledge between the worldwide, India, China, all various markets. Errol has an extensive track record in Indian market with primary focus on potatoes and onion sector for supply chain perspective and on enlarging the Indo-Dutch cooperation. Errol provided technology solutions, advice, design, assistance, and training for food parks set up in Calcutta and Indore. This, namely Indus Mega Food Park, which he has set up together with some local promoters in 2013, and the other being Jangipur Mega Food Park in Mushirabad, which is now going to be ready by 2015. Mr. Errol, if you can come and just give your technical presentation.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, good. I will not speak too loud. My voice is quite heavy, so sometimes it's getting quite enthusiastic, so don't worry, just temper me down and I will come down. Yeah? Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Errol, so everything you heard is fine, but my name is Errol, and I'm just a normal guy, so you can address me if you need any information after the session. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, for addressing us. I would like I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrongly. You know, my skin is white. I'm from the Netherlands. You have sun and some rain, and we have rain and some sun. So it's a little bit different. But I would like to address Mrs. Badal, Honourable Minister. Thank you very much for addressing your point of view regarding the agricultural sector in India. Mr. Bokharia, thank you very much for honouring us here today to speak. And to Mrs. Samir, and I would really like to talk to you after the meeting, because I think we have a lot in common. Yeah, and that's going to be very interesting. So, everybody on the table, I want to speed up because we have to talk about food and we have to talk about parks. And you talk about food parks, but that's a little bit too quick. So I want first to talk about a little bit about food, and then we go to the parks, and then we can combine it and we can do things together, which is amazing. Everybody in the room, welcome. My name is Errol. I told you already, since 1990, I touched the first potato and I started working in the agricultural sector. And the agricultural sector is really very sexy. But we have one big problem, and that's the development. You know, we have a lot of sectors which developing are very quickly. And if we see the development in the agricultural sector, then we really would like to speed it up. The only problem is that we are human and we have farmers, and farmers from their nature do the thing themselves. They don't go to a government, they solve it themselves. And actually we need the government, and the government is here to help us to develop even faster than what we're doing, let's say, in the last 25 years. And the problem we see today is the development we did with the last 25 years. So if we can speed up that process, it would be tremendous effort for us all and a good result. Chairman, very nice. Still, I'm Errol, representing the Dutch companies who want to invest in India. We are a small country. If you take a fighter jet and you fly from the German border to the sea, it takes you 1.5 minutes. 1.5 minutes. That's nothing. If I fly from Ahmedabad to Calcutta, it takes me 4 hours. You know, the changes we see and the difference in culture are joined in agriculture. Because many times I'm sitting down on the field talking to farmers with huge problems. And we are flying in very nice jets all the way to India to do business. But before we can do business, we first have to start to learn what really the problem is. And that's why we are here today. I learned it in the last 8 to 9 years. And I became president of NAFTEC because I think that together with farmers, government and business, we can make the best practical solutions for in India, but also for in the Netherlands, even worldwide. And together with Israel, I think we can do great things. So enough about me. I just go on because time is limited and we have much more speakers and we also need some discussion. So the menu of today is actually the Netherlands. I keep it short because we spoke a lot about it, about NAFTEC, and then we go into food and in the parks. World leading, small country, 1.5 minutes by a fighter jet, and actually what it means, we trade. If you see the positioning of the Netherlands, you see the big continents around us. We have rivers, we have plains, we have trains, we have transport facilities. That makes us innovative. So we are able to make sure that all the transport that is transported through the world is coming to our country. It goes by boat, by plane, by train. It goes from the port of Amsterdam all the way to Russia by train, and everything is coordinated, even conditioned. So it's possible. World-leading food companies. We are innovative. We have the skills to develop new techniques. Everything from a perspective of product quality. Perspective of product quality. We first look at the product quality before we look to the design. Product quality is always leading. And high-tech in horticulture and water. You know, it's simple. If you take the dikes away, 60% of Netherlands is gone. And then it takes you 15 seconds with the plane. You know, so we have to manage our small country, high density of population, huge challenges on traffic, but not as big as India. But I think we have a lot in common. So if we just move on because time is limited, but if you see where we are on the rating, you see that we do quite well, even for a small country. If you look to the markets in which we are leaders or in which we are prominent, visible, if you look to, let's say, poultry, the way we handle eggs, the way we control, let's say, the internal egg, if there is blood inside, if the egg is dirty, if the size is good, we can control that from a wider perspective than just that. So product quality, again, is, let's say, key by the development of machines. And the big advantage of this way of thinking is that product doesn't matter where you want to store it, you can always store it in the best possible way or process it in the best possible way. 60% of, let's say, the robots which are used in dairy, 60% of the materials, 60% of parts are produced in the Netherlands. Potato storage and handling equipment, 50 to 70% comes from the Netherlands. Why? Well, go to the Netherlands, take 25 people, put them on a row, and I think they all look like a potato. That's the main reason. So we think from, let's say, product perspective. And if you look at Navtech as an organization, and you look at let's say, the companies we have, which are joined in private, let's say, organizations, Navtech is actually the representing company in India, but also in China. And we can expect in the near future that we will widen that horizon. There are more emerging markets where we will, let's say, set up similar organizations like Navtech is today. Dutch excellence. We can talk 3 days about the excellence, but I really would like to go to the food and to the parks and to India because we are here. We have a high density of products. Small country, high density, high yields. But the problem is, if we have a disease, we have a huge problem. So if we look to the way we are controlling things, there is a very strict regulation on certification of the seeds, on certification of the chemicals we use, on fertilizers which we use. Crop rotation is very useful and is going to be used extensively to make sure that we keep the yields which we have, let's say, to 40 to 60 tons per hectare, or we look at, let's say, cow level to between 25 and 40 liters per day. That's what we want to keep, but you cannot keep it day after day after day if you don't adjust. Inspections, knowledge, and then I come back, let's say, to where we are. Study groups. Why do we have study groups? Study groups are there to exchange information, to join. Of course they're competition, of course they want to sell their product for the best possible price. But on the other hand, they also want to learn from each other. So what they do is exchange. They have the same problem, They have to solve it together, and then eventually they have to be sure that they sell their product to the best possible price. That's the competition. That's all how we are organized. We join forces. Of course, we want you to come to the Netherlands, but we are not alone in this world. We know that. So sometimes you have to combine. And combining, you can go alone, and then you can go fast. But if you go together, you go far. So we rather go together. Innovation. One small example, we have a company in the Netherlands that's driving 25 million kilometers on the road with trucks. It's delivering goods, agricultural goods, all over Europe. What they wanted was reducing their carbon footprint by 20 to 25%. And they said, okay, that's very simple, because then we are going to lower the speed of the trucks. So we change, let's say, the attitude of the driver. They did an investigation, and what they actually had to do was to change their supply chain so that the driver could drive slowlier, because it didn't make any difference in arrival time. Because the 2 or 3 kilometers doesn't do anything. But the mindset that we had to change the production prior to delivery to the client saved 20%. It's a way of innovation. That's also innovation. Not just the product, not just the package, not just the way of buying which tractor or which machinery. It's also supply related. Measuring from starting from your store, starting from your cool tank, whatever you want to do. If the cow is milked, we put it in the tank, we measure the temperature, we put it in a truck, we measure the temperature, and we take, let's say, the bacteria inside. We come to the factory, we measure the temperature, we process it, we measure the temperature, and eventually everything is related to quality. If I relate it to potatoes, and I visited, I think, 350 farmers in India, because we are cold storage related. We know what the farmers do. They have their potatoes, they water it, they harvest it, they put it in bags, they put it on a tractor to the main road, they put it on trucks. It's 2 days on the road, 25, 35 degrees. It's arriving by the store. It has to go in the store, but logistically it's not possible. Eventually it takes from the moment from harvesting until loading in the store, maybe 4 days. When we do it in the Netherlands, we harvest them, within an hour it's in the store. And that's possible because the distance is small, but also because logistics is organized. Everything product related. So if we look, let's say, to the cooperation, we call it a golden triangle, business, government, and knowledge, academic. We combine those factors, and we also do it in India. If we need to know in a certain range what is the development and what are the, let's say, the circumstances, we first send our agricultural university. They will investigate how the supply chain, which factors are actually present at that stage. And then we adjust our model or our services to that, so that we are absolutely sure that that is what the farmer or the supply chain needs. Where are we? Well, from NAFTEC side, in India and also in China, future development is expected. And actually, what I would like to know, what I would like to tell you, is how does it look? Actually, it looks like this. It's very simple, and if you bring food and the park together, you have the food parks. But if you keep the food park away and you look at the food, then you see actually what we do from NAFTEC. From a cluster perspective, we approach, let's say, a sector. That means actually what we do, the members in NAFTEC, especially in the potato area, these are seed potato growers, these are storage specialists, these are trucking companies with cool trucks, these are even packers, and these are even handling and harvesting machines. This all is aligned to increase the quality of the product. So if we look, let's say, to the food processing and eventually also to, so if we look, let's say, to the factors, if we look at food processing, but especially at mega food parks, you see a number of factors which are actually on influence on the way we are going to tackle it. And what do we need before we even can go there? We spoke about already that the cities are growing and the rural area is getting smaller. It's getting more expensive, and what we have to do is actually increase the quality of yields. The only problem is that if we don't adjust the attitude from the farmer, we don't change anything. Because you can build a mega food park, but eventually this farmer is growing his crop, and if the market is good, he's going to sell on the market. So what are we going to do? What should we change in that perspective? And there is a big catch, because food parks we can build. That's not a problem. The problem is the attitude in the chain should be changed. And that is something which is quite necessary, especially for a success story. What do we want? Well, middle class is getting richer, get more money, we want more products, etc., etc. That gives us actually the intelligence. So if you look at the perspective, we see, let's say, the big cities growing bigger. We see more traffic jams. So the main question is, how do we get the food into the city? In the Netherlands, that's not possible. So we have limitations when we can drive with trucks, until which time, and then we have the pollution rates. So we cannot go with a truck which is maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, because then the pollution is too high and we cannot get this truck inside. And then we have maybe a number of trucks which has to come. So we are combining the different layers of product in collection centers and drive with electrical cars into the city before 6 o'clock in the morning and deliver only one time. It's flexible, it's clean, and it's easy for the groceries. So it's more efficient. So, challenge for food security, we spoke about that. Center of excellences. So I will definitely talk to the Minister of Israel, because there is a lot what we can do together in combination. And eventually, what is the result? The result is that if you go alone, you can go quick, you can arrange a lot. But if you join forces, you can reduce the investment cost, you can reduce the losses, you can increase the quality, and eventually everybody is gaining from that. That's what we do. There is our knowledge. Combination and forces between government, business, and agricultural sector, and countries. We are small, but it doesn't mean that we are little. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Arul. You failed to mention the tulips you have. And when they are in bloom, they are very nice. But Netherlands, like Israel, is a model which India has to study. And Caventer Agro Park, which is coming up, is supposed to be one of India's best parks. Look forward to seeing it. Let us move ahead with the program. Our next session is on food preservation technologies securing a better future. For that, we are none other than Dr. A.K. Kohli. He did his graduation in mechanical engineering from Delhi University in 1974. He joined Reactor Engineering Division BRAC after graduating from the same training school. He did MTech in design and a PhD in tribology from IIT Delhi. He has been instrumental in bringing up a large number of industrial-scale radiation processing plants in the private sector in India. His sustained efforts have resulted in the introduction of a new product suitable for industrial eradicator's in the country. He is recipient of the Indian Nuclear Society's Outstanding Service Award 2009, and in his contributions in the field of radiation and radioisotope-related applications is huge. He is an authority on the subject. He is also the president of the National Association for Application of Radiation and Radioisotopes in the Industry. We all look forward to your presentation, sir.
Shri Siraj Hussain, Mr. Rajkumar, I could not read the names actually, other dignitaries on dais, all the distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I'm privileged to be here, to be part of this particular summit. And I'm going to talk on a food preservation technology which is not that well known in the country. But when the new government took over, it was in news actually. In fact, in one of the TV channels, a caption was going on. Modi ka mantra, महंगाई छू मंत्र. So in fact, that was making us worried that this particular technology should not be treated as magic. Radiation processing cannot do any magic. It has to be seen in its perspective. That's what I will try to do today, to tell you what really it is and what it can really do for us. So there are a number of food preservation technologies. In fact, many of the technologies are well known. They are technologies which are there to slow down the degrading mechanisms or the spoilage mechanisms, and we try to introduce various hurdles which can change the shape of the product, which can change the texture, which can change the whole form. And there are a number of technologies which put these hurdles without changing the shape. In fact, those items will look like the same as those were harvested. And radiation processing is one of those technologies which do not change the form. The form remains same, but we try to introduce some beneficial effects. As the Honorable Minister was telling, the food losses are tremendous. In fact, the figures, if you see on my slide, the wastage is not just 18%. In fact, as per our estimate, the figures are much higher actually. Whatsoever we produce, 30 to 50%, depending upon the product, it goes as waste. And in fact, more than applying these technologies, what we have in our country, see, our country is much different from my earlier speaker told. Actually, we have much sun brights much harshly. We can have temperatures right up to 50 degrees centigrade, unthinkable in Europe. And we cannot think of putting the product into storage or into shelves actually within hours. We don't have organized farming to the extent they have. We have poor farmers. After they harvest, they look for the price they want to have so that they can go for their next harvest. That is the issue we have. Plus, if you see the picture, we waste a lot of things. It goes in drenching of the grains. No technology can help in that. The other thing is, we don't respect the fruits and vegetables. These are live products. If we can give them the due respect like a living object, I think things can be different. These two things, if we can take off, simple things, and I think we can come to that figure, what Honorable Minister was saying, 18%, we can quickly come to that figure if these two simple things can be taken care of. Now coming to what is food irradiation, or what we call as radiation processing. Sometimes with term irradiation, people get worried as if they are going to be irradiated or they will get some radiation out of that. So that's why we use a softer term, radiation processing. What it does, it is a controlled application of radiation to get beneficial effects. So what we do, we apply radiation. It's not that something is put into the product. It is giving radiation from a distance. It is like a person goes for X-ray and comes out, and that person doesn't become radioactive. It is as simple as that. You simply pass the product in front of the radiation source, and the duration, the intensity of source, that's what needs to be seen, and it can do the job as per the product. So what it really does, when you pass the product in front of the radiation, it can break DNA bonds. If they are microorganisms, living organisms, their DNA bonds can be broken, and that energy required is very little. You can totally inactivate. You can inactivate right from the egg stage. If they are eggs laying on the grains, right from say egg, larvae, pupae, the entire, fully adult also. In fact, when you see adult insects, you should not be applying any of the preservation technology. So, but radiation can eliminate all the stages, right from egg, larvae, pupae, without damaging the product as such. And this radiation can also introduce or slow down the various spoilage mechanisms which can be there. So these are the two basic principles on which the entire technology is centered around. So before I go further, I want to emphasize here that this is a very, very safe and wholesome process. If you see any processing technique, there is some loss of nutrients. And that way, in this also, there is a very small, I think this smaller than other technologies which you use. The loss is really insignificant, and it is very, very safe. You can, I am showing a Apollo 11 mission. These astronauts had taken radiation processed food with them in July 69, and they are still healthy, I can say. It is endorsed by number of professional bodies. It is most researched subject, and it is one of the safest technologies we have. So that sort of fear should be set aside before I go further. And as I told earlier, none of the radiation processed foods become radioactive. So radiation processing has application in all the three areas. It can make the food safe. In fact, many of the things we use in our kitchens, actually that itself makes things safe. Actually, we cook too much. In fact, we sometimes even burn items to eat actually before we eat. We fry, we boil, we heavily cook. So we don't face that sort of problem which other countries face. So food safety is, however, one particular benefit which we can really take advantage of, and this is particularly true in animal origin products like chicken, meat or beef or all such products where you can have human pathogens which are there and which can be easily eradicated without affecting their texture and all. Then it can help in food quarantine, like if you want to export to some countries which are not accepting the pests you have in your own country, like US earlier was importing Indian mangoes, but they found that our mangoes have some pests which they don't have in their own country, so they didn't want to spoil their harvest, so they banned import of mangoes from India. And for 16 long years, US was not importing mangoes from India. So, in fact, our facility at Nasik, Krushak, was the first one when they, before that, US had accepted radiation processing as a quarantine treatment. After that, we have been now exporting mangoes processed at Krushak for last now 7 years. So it now even apart from mangoes, now US has accepted pomegranate for radiation processing for export to US. So that way there are so many countries which permit radiation processing as quarantine treatment, and without that they will not even import those products which they prohibit because of quarantine issues. Then the third item is food security, for which we all are here to listen more. So as I told, it can help in slowing down the spoilage mechanisms. It can slow down the various physiological processes and various biochemical reactions which are there. But the normal rotting which can take place, or the normal care the live products need to have, actually that has to be assured. It is not that if you apply that radiation and now then you can put the way you want. It is not that. And in the world right now, it's estimated that 1 million tons of food products are being processed by radiation. And I'll tell you where we stand afterwards. And our government has accepted various products for radiation processing. In fact, all the All the products which really can be processed are covered, and we can select actually, and only the dose restrictions are there. Within that, it has to be there. That is very wider. Now, this gazette notification was coming out very recently in 2012 only. Earlier, there were only 21 products which were permitted. Now we have host of products which can be processed by radiation. So it's a cutaway view of a typical radiation processing plant. We have two types of radiation processing plant. One is based on radioactive source, or gamma or cesium-137. These are sources which are produced in reactors, which are well encapsulated, doubly encapsulated in stainless steel welded capsules, and are used to expose the food products with radiation in a plant which is ensured to see that human and source can in no position come face to face. So all the complexity of the plant is to just ensure this, that radiation and the human being, whether this plant operator or the maintenance person or anyone, they should not be able to face each other at any time, even with their mistakes. It is a foolproof design we try to make so that that sort of accident sort of thing cannot happen. And in fact, no such incident has happened in India, and I can assure you the way the designs are there, this is very well regulated technology, and such an incident I don't postulate. Apart from radioactive source, machine generated radiation is also used, electron beam technology, which also is popular. In various other countries it is popular. In India, this technology is currently being used for cross-linking of cables and O-rings and such technology, industrial products. Since this is a technology which is currently not indigenously available, so it is not that cost-effective today. So before coming to individual products, in general, I wanted to tell what are the advantages. Is a physical, non-additive process. We don't add anything like other fumigants and all. You will have some residuals on the products. So here, this is a physical process. Nothing gets added to the product. It's a non-polluting process. There is absolutely no issue, like fumigants are toxic and health hazard. In fact, many of the fumigants are being banned. There are no issues with radiation source, and there are no waste, and you can treat bulk or pre-packed products. It's not that product should be open. Fully packed, fully covered, thermally sealed products can be processed. But many of the live products, in fact, you don't have to put in thermally sealed bags. These, we have to allow them to breathe. So that sort of care has to be taken. It has to be, this packaging has to be as per the product. So cereals and all can be thermally packed so that there should not be insect infestation. But live products like onion, potato, mango, or all fruits and vegetables need to breathe. And we have to allow suitable packaging for that. So it's an extremely reliable process. Simply you have to control the time. Once the product has seen that much of time, the job is done. You will not have any doubt that now whether it will work or not. Once it has seen that amount of radiation, job is done. And it's a cold process. There is no loss of any aroma or other flavors the product may have. And that is a tremendous process. But if you see other processes where you may have to heat and all, you may lose number of positive things it may have. So coming to security issues, or as I told earlier, phytosanitary treatment it can do. As earlier I told, mango is one of the products which India has started exporting because earlier it was not accepted, and that way this technology has number of other potential, like now Australia and New Zealand is also accepting it as quarantine treatment, and we can now export to such countries also where such issues are there in quarantine. Now coming to food safety, as I told, you can totally eradicate or eliminate the microorganisms, particularly in animal origin. But you need to keep, see if any such product is there, like chicken, mutton or beef, you have to keep at least at 15 degrees centigrade. There is no product which can be there at temperature higher than that. So ideally the temperature which we maintain is 3 to 4 degrees centigrade, chilled condition. And even in chilled condition, all these products, whether it is chicken, mutton or beef, cannot stand more than 3-4 days actually. Their life cannot be there for more than 3-4 days. But if you can, radiation processing here anyway, I'm talking about safety, you can, if you see safety point of view, it can eradicate all the this microorganism, whether it's E. coli or Vibrio or all such microorganisms which are hazardous to human beings. These are human pathogens only which seep into these products. And we can make these fully safe actually, apart from increasing their shelf life. And if you see the food safety hierarchy wise, it gets the pride of place. If it is a radiation process food, it is safest, and you cannot have any trouble if you consume any of the, if it is a radiation process food. So this anyway, I think is a repetition where I have said it can slow down the physiological process or biochemical reaction. Physiological process can be like sprouting, or it can be sprouting of like onions, potatoes, ginger, garlic, such products. Or it can be senescence of various fruits actually, like apples, banana, which become old age, like if you keep for longer period, they try to become shrink. So that process also can be slowed down, and various other microorganisms can be inactivated. So this is one of the good applications of radiation processing. You can, if you give a small dose of radiation in onion, potato or garlic, even starting from 30 gray, it's a very, very small dose, that product will never sprout. But it's not that now you have applied radiation, you can keep it the way you want. It's not like the respect it needs earlier, that sort of thing has to be maintained. It has to be like, if it is onion, it has to be put in ventilated chawl or the way you want, which you would have treated earlier. The only thing is now it will not sprout. The losses because of sprouting or the dehydration because of sprouting will be stopped. But the rotting which can happen because of mechanical damage, as I was saying, we don't treat these products the way we should. We simply put in gunny bags and dump it, and some of the products can get damaged, and it can start damage to the entire gunny bag or the entire store. That storehouse also can get rotten actually. So that sort of care has to be taken so that we don't maltreat these products. That again I am trying to emphasize, that anyway has to be done. No other technology will help unless we treat these products with respect. So all these products which I have put it here, potato, onion, shallot, garlic, we can prevent sprouting. And in the case of potato, in fact, we can improve the quality of potato also, because radiation reduces the reducing sugars which can occur, and we can get much better quality of products like chips or fries. And the storage temperature also can be higher than what we normally keep. It can be kept at 13 to 15 degrees centigrade rather than 3 to 4. So all that advantages we can have. Potato is a very suitable product where we can take advantage. Okay. Then delay in ripening, delay in senescence. In climacteric fruits we can delay the ripening. In non-climacteric we can delay the senescence, as I covered. And we can to control the fungi, like if you see these two pictures, non-irradiated lychee stored at 4 degrees centigrade, 15 days, what happens? And if it is irradiated, you don't see any fungus. Same storage method. That sort of advantage you can see in many of the products. The most beneficial advantage which you can avail is in cereals. You package it, thermally seal it, apply radiation, you can keep it for years. There will be no infestation at all, even for a number of years, but other physiological processes can happen, but you need not worried about any infestation in future. So like what we see in atta, in 3-4 months, you can see some insects in packed packages also. So in now India, first time we are going to try, one pilot irradiation has been done at one plant is there under MOU with Brit. 200 tons of wheat atta has been done in pilot scale. And it is a branded one which is going to be introduced soon in the market in northern India. This product is going to come out now. And coming to what sort of propagation we have done already. We in the Department of Atomic Energy, we have 3 plants, our own plant. One is Isomed, which is only for medical sterilization of products, and 2 other plants. One I said as Krushak, and other is RPP Vashi, which we are doing spices and all. Apart from that, we have 12 plants in private sector, which are already doing their job. And in fact, we have in Gujarat itself, we have 2 plants now. One was at Baroda, Universal Medicap, and one Gujarat Industries Development Corporation has also set up very close to this place near in Bawra actually, where this plant has been recently started. And 2 more MOUs have been signed, one with Komaka Industry and the one with Archon Healthcare. In fact, those people are here. I think that MOU is also going to be signed today with in this summit actually, as part of that summit. And this gives the details of the Universal Isomed, how much products they are doing. There is a shortage of time. This other plant which was recently inaugurated by Honorable Chief Minister, that picture is there in this. So I am coming to conclusion. I have heard that bird chirping actually. 1 million tons is being processed in the world, and in India only 20,000 tons, and that too major portion is going for exports. This very little which is being done for consumption within India. And it has huge potential in disinfestation of cereals and all, and it can be very usefully employed with other fruits and vegetables, their preservation, but in combination with other technologies. It can have useful effect in any such items, but it has to be seen along with a combination. It cannot be simply radiation processing and it does the just, and it can do shelf life extension depending upon product, how you maintain, what is the storage condition. It can have extension in shelf life of all these products actually, and this is the time we need to adopt this technology. And apart from 12 plants, 2 more plants are going to be commissioned soon. In fact, already one we have loaded and more is there. And in Gujarat, I'm sure this Archon Healthcare plant also will come very fast, maybe within 2015. Thank you very much.